I'm going to go into my darkroom tonight to finish off the prints that I wanted to do. I have 3 or 4 that I want to make today, but now I've made one and I've worked out what the issue was. The other one shouldn't be too hard to make, so that's grand. I am having somewhat of an anxiety and depression tailspin. I won't go into details because this isn't supposed to be like me unloading my burdens to you. You just really don't need the chaos of my mind being dumped on you. Something that was important to me when I left my job last year was that I would have more time for creative pursuits. So I wanted to leave my job and do something that could earn me money, but that was also going to fulfill my need for variety, for artistic endeavours. What I found is that I actually don't make the time for it. It's very easy to get stuck at my desk doing the admin side of working for myself, to get caught up in the things that are going to make money immediately rather than setting aside the time for doing things like creating prints, even though ultimately my goal is to sell more of my prints, to go and attend more art and craft fairs and to build that side of my business as well. And yet I find myself so often not in my darkroom or not out taking photographs. And I think that has also led me to not really making very many videos for my channel. I love making videos for my channel, but I can get myself into a place where I feel pressured to do other work and not this when I really love this. So today we're going to do some darkroom work and make some more prints. One print done. I discovered after starting though that my blackout curtain has broken in certain areas, so some light was getting through, so I had to bodge that together. So I've got some quite interesting fogged prints now. Okay, we have discovered the problem with darkroom session today. It is too hot. I am sweating. Being stuck in a room that is Mia, be quiet. Being stuck in a room that is literally sealed off is causing me issues. So I'm going to go make a glass of water and then talk to you in a minute. Whilst I take a break, I thought I'd tell you about the book that I'm listening to on audio. It's called Loat and it's by Shola von Reinhold, who is, I believe, a Scottish author. It might be of interest to some of the people watching my channel, especially those who are also on my Photography Books and Theory Facebook group, because it is about art theory, but it's very much making a mockery of the people that take it too seriously. So the people who start sounding really pompous. Even more specifically photography, we are following a woman named Matilda, although we don't really know whether that's actually her name because she keeps changing her identity every time someone works out that she's not who she says she is, and she just like gets herself deeper and deeper into all these different personas. And she ends up going on this artist residency with all these really pompous people who are really into something called thought art. It's too hot for a walk yet. You're gonna have to wait till it cools down outside. I'm really enjoying it. And if you're interested in stories that are set within sort of art theory and art history and that, then you'll like this because it is really good. Okay, we're still taking a little rest from the darkroom. I'm gonna go back, I think, a bit later when it's perhaps a bit less hot. So whilst I'm loving having a job where I can create my own day, I can schedule what I want to schedule, I'm doing a lot more creative things. It does require a massive shift in mindset from working in a corporate world. For the large part, your deadlines are set for you, whether that's because a client needs something by a certain day, whether it's just that you know there are certain official deadlines throughout the year. And equally the same with even things like training. They tend to be put into your diary and you have to work everything else around them. Those sorts of self-development things are put there for you. When you start working for yourself, especially when you take on something like what I'm doing, which is so... I mean, the only way to describe it is having your fingers in many pies. Like, I have so many different things on the go. And so fitting all that in, and then also saying to myself, I'm doing this because I want the time to prioritise creative outlets, to prioritise printmaking and being in my darkroom and taking photographs. It can be really difficult, and it's really easy to slip into a default of sitting at your desk. You know, when I was working in London, it was always taught to us that if you're really busy, if you've got loads on and you're really struggling, you still need to take a lunch break, because ultimately, without that refresher, without that mental reset of a lunch break, you're going to be less productive. And it's the same thing that I need to be doing here, is that when I find myself going into one of these depression and anxiety tailspins, that I need to prioritise something that's going to reset my mind and bring me back to myself. But it is just so easy to prioritise desk-based work, because in general, that is the work that pays me the quickest. Working in my darkroom, that's to build up stock for print sales, and my online print sales are very slow, and art fairs always feel like, far off in the distance, so building up stock for those doesn't feel like a priority. Easier said than done. Even for myself, it's taken me a couple of weeks of knowing that I'm in not a great place. I've not had the mental capacity to really make any photography videos. That's been a real struggle. And that's considering not only do I love photography, but I love making videos. But it's because I've been prioritising desk-based work rather than creative work. And so it's taken me a couple of weeks to say, I'm not achieving enough. I shouldn't kick myself over that, but I need to do something. Something needs to change. And so it was only really yesterday that I was like, no, do you know what? I need to prioritise. I'm going to dedicate some time to being in my darkroom. Okay, I'm going to finish off the vlog here because it's really hot in the darkroom. So I end up making 2 prints to go into my book boxes. So I now have books 5 and 6 listed for sale on my website. I will show you the prints. These are the boxes. These are my lovely boxes. So this is print 1. I don't know how well you can see it, but what we have is a water feature that is nestled in amongst some lush greenery and a building in the background. This print is going alongside a translated short story, translated from Japanese I believe, and this is from a small press that is based in Norwich. So it's really nice to be using some indie publishers in these book boxes. I believe 2, maybe 3 of the books that are included in the book boxes are from indie publishers, which I'm really pleased with. So this is a very unusual short story. Obviously, being a short story, I can't tell you too much about it because that would ruin it, but It does explore some very odd themes. I mean, that seems to be quite common in the books that I read that are translated from Japanese, but I still love them. Anyway, the prompts will be listed on my website. The prompts are for that one, short story, translated fiction, indie press. And then the other one that I made. So here we have, now this is an image of ruins. I don't know if you can tell from here, but we've got some very ghostly markings. I wanted to evoke that sort of haunted, unusual looking thing anyway. Book prompts are historical fiction, feminist icon, and war, because it involves a lot of war, the book. That one's a more traditional novel, it's not from an indie press, I don't believe. I think from the ruins, maybe you can tell that it's quite old historical fiction, it's not modern historical fiction. So I'm filming this on Monday, the day when it's like 40 degrees in the UK. So I'm going to be taking my fan up there because it was way too hot in the darkroom. But I've got some more ideas that I want to be working on. It's been so good for my mental health to get back in the darkroom, in that calming space that I find there. Yeah, so expect some more darkroom vlogs because I think that's where I'm going to be working quite a lot.